Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Green Millstone, and to the hopeful elect pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson is going to be titled, Don't Be Hasty in the Time of Trouble. Now, it's going to be a quick one, but an important one nonetheless. So let's go into the word hasty real quick, or haste. Hasty, early, demanding haste, urgent, quick-tempered, angry, speedy, swift, quick, eager, impetuous. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Forward, advance, rash. And you can go to the word haste. Hurrying, haste, celerity, swiftness, speed, need for quick action, urgency. Right? So pretty much just moving quickly. Right? So Ecclesiasticus 2:2, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Okay? So being in this truth, you're going to be tempted. Right? Any way you can think of, you're going to be tempted. And it's always going to come back to your emotions. You know? Because having control of your emotions will basically control you in, falling for those temptations, right? But the title is called Don't Be Hasty in That Time of Trouble, because, like, when you're in a time of trouble, right, people, we're all in the flesh, we get emotional. And when we get emotional, we don't think clearly, right? And since we don't think clearly, we move hasty, right? Which actually gets ourselves in more trouble, right? So when you're in trouble, when things are not going the way you want them to go, when you're in an evil time, you should just sit back and wait and see how this plays out. You don't think or don't believe or feel that you need to do something right now, right? Because things are going bad, are all around you, and you have to do something right now. You don't have to do anything, right? You might have to make a move, but doesn't mean you have to make it right now, right? Oh, there you go. Actually, the point was that number 2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, right? So basically, heart, it means mind, right? Right. So set it right. Setting that right state of mind, make it balanced, right? And constantly endure. So when you're going through things, you're just supposed to endure. You're supposed to deal with it, right? So being in that state of mind, enduring, will control you from being hasty, because you might be in a situation like, say, maybe you don't want to go to see your woman's parents, right? You already know how it's going to be over there, X, Y, and Z. And you're getting mad, you're getting emotional, right? But and then you might do something stupid. You might say something to your woman and cause even more problems. And then, how that is. It's a downward spiral. Or you should say your demon. But, if you understand that you have to endure, that will slow down your mind, right? And help you control the emotions and see that, look, you're like, well, I have to deal with this anyways. So there's no reason for me to lash out at her, because at the end of the day, these are parents, and this is part of being the truth. And, you start being able to think clearly and break it down, instead of be like, you start snapping at her and saying, oh, your parents are crazy, da-da-da-da. It's just, you know what I mean? Right? I don't want to go and rant about it, but you get the point. And make not haste in time of trouble, right? So don't be haste in the time of trouble, any type of trouble. I just use that for example, right? Proverbs 14:29. Proverbs 14:29. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, basically what I was just saying, you know? So like another example is like a more extreme example is like well the MOTB, right? And the MOTB and these jabs, right, that are coming, right? You might be at work and they might ask you, or people might ask you like, "Oh, you're gonna take the antidote," right? And you're like, "No, I'm not taking the antidote," right? They might ask why. Now you already know you're in a wicked kingdom, so maybe just because of that and the fact that this person's a heathen or a 2/3, all those emotions will stir up and you get angry, then you might say something out of haste, right? Which might blow your cover, so to speak, right? Instead of just, you could just make up something. He's like, well, I'm actually allergic to it. I'm allergic to the ingredients in the antidote. They're like, oh, really? Like, yeah, like, right? And that's kind of how you can like dodge that situation, right? Because the scriptures also say, be harmless as a dove and silent as a snake, roughly paraphrasing. Right? So like he that is slow to wrath is a great understanding, because when you're slow to wrath, you can see everything. Right? When you're slow to anger, you can see everything clearly of what's happening. And you can make your move accordingly instead of being quick to wrath, being haste to wrath, and making a move off of emotions and it being the wrong move. Then you have to go back to basically apologize for what you just did, for making that mistake, and then, trying to fix whatever you broke, in a sense, whether it's a relationship, a situation, maybe an actual physical thing, right? Because you had lack of control of emotions, right? And this is very important because, like, I'm not talking about the antidote, but the MOTB, like, it's going to come to those times where you're going to be tempted, like I read in Ecclesiasticus, we're going to be tempted, all of us are going to be tempted to take that MOTB. And if you don't have control of your emotions, if you're a person who's prone to being hasty with your emotions, you're going to get yourself into trouble, like big trouble, right? That's why it says don't be hasty in the time of trouble. So in that time of trouble, when you're being tempted, that hour of temptation, right, they tempt you with the MOTB, you have to have control of your emotions so you can be slow to wrath, right? Which will give you that great understanding of what to do next in this situation, right? But he that is hasty of spirit exalted folly. That's what will happen. You exalt folly. And you don't want to exalt folly in that moment. That's the wrong time. So the whole point is that you're supposed to practice it now. So we're gonna go to Ecclesiasticus. We're in the flesh, so it's very easy to get, taken by your emotions. That's why you have to like practice being. I learned from brother, practice really being honest, brutally honest with yourself all the time about emotion you might feel or whatever that the flesh, you know what I mean? And break it down and understand, because I believe the scriptures also talk about knowing thyself. You need to know yourself. Know the demons that you're dealing with. Ecclesiasticus 11:25. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction, and in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. Yeah, so like when everything's good, you forget where you were at the bottom, right? Which forgetfulness causes you to get prideful, right? When you are on the top, now that you're on the top, everything's great, everything's good, things are just rolling, everything you do just works, right? You start to get cocky, right? And prideful, not remembering when you were on the bottom and you're on the opposite end, And it says, and in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. So when you're getting afflicted, you're going through it, you're stressed out, right? You forget when you actually were doing good. You forget when the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahshua was, helping you with all these things. You're doing good. You're prospering. Because everything's about balance, right? And Job said it the pretty simple and plain, but powerfully. Are we to receive good and not receive evil? That's the balance, right? And having control of your emotions and not being hasty with your emotions will allow you to see that and remember that. Like when you're going through something, it's like, oh yeah, I remember when I'm going through this, but I remember when everything was good. That's just what it is. Are we to receive good and not receive evil? You just tell yourself that and you're good. You just endure. You dare to deal with the situation. And vice versa. When things are good, you thank Yahweh Hashem Yahshua for, the fact that things are good, because when you remember when things were bad, even then you still have control of your emotions. You're not allowing it to take you too far. You're allowing your tires to be pumped too big, right? So to speak. I believe that's how the phrase goes. So we have one more. It's Hebrews 11. I believe it's Hebrews 11:25. Right, Hebrews 11:25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, and that's gonna be a big one, because that's the decision between taking the MOTB or not taking the MOTB, right? If you don't take the MOTB, that chip, you're going to suffer with the people of Yahweh, which are the elect, right? But the ones that do take it, they get to enjoy the pleasures of sin, because it's all just sin that comes from getting that chip. You get to go and party, you get to go drink, you get to do whatever you can, where your heart desires in Babylon, because you have that chip, because you basically signed over to the beast, right? But it's only for a season, because like right after that happens, the elect are sealed, and then Yahweh Shai is going to be there quickly. Like it's going to be quick. And that's it. You're done. You're destroyed. So, and that all comes from not being hasty with your emotions, because in that moment, they're going to do things to try to make you take that chip. You don't know. You could be getting tortured. They might they might starve you. They're going to do so many things to try you, to tempt you, right? So you have to have control of your emotions and not be hasty with your emotions, and understand you have to endure, right? It's going to allow you to think clearly of what's really going on and not think carnally when that thing's happening, when that situation's happening, when you're being tempted, and think spiritually, right? And see that, this is a test, right? And, and then you pass. Yahweh Rataza, and you're one of the elect, and you get beamed up, and you're out of here. So, yeah, I hope this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect, to the nation of Israel. I'd like to close out by saying, Ka Halak Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Death and destruction to his wicked kingdom, and 2/3 as well. Kwam Yasharallah, Abad Babal, Shalom.